All right. Hey, everyone. We're back. This is going to be season two. That's what we're calling it. Season two of the Collective Podcast. I've been on a hiatus for about 3 years now. And I'm going to get into why the hiatus. And we're going to talk a bit about kind of what we're thinking about doing with the podcast moving forwards. And just kind of some new things. So let's dig into it. So why was there a break in the podcast? Why was there this 3 year kind of lull? Well, life got kind of crazy in the past couple of years for various reasons, the pandemic and all of that chaos. But there was a while when I was doing the podcast where I was kind of doing it out of it wasn't coming from a genuine place, I felt like, for me. And those of you that know me, I'm very transparent, and I like to do the things that that I can focus on and give all my energy to. And anytime that kind of slips from that purpose, things kind of fall away from my pursuit of them. So it became somewhat of a job, and the podcast actually is a decent amount of work to actually schedule and get people involved with it, and then actually have engaging conversations with unique people and all of that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily the most challenging job, but it does take a lot of effort. And I started realizing that I wanted to have more of my own time for quietness, or to put that time that was going into the podcast, which is almost a part-time job, putting that podcast time into my own projects and my skills and abilities. And rather than talking about work, I wanted to spend that time selfishly to focus on me and the work that mattered most. So that was kind of one of the main reasons behind wanting to take a bit of a break. But to be honest, after these 3 years, there's been this kind of, there's been a bit of a hole inside of myself. And I think that the lack of community and the lack of being able to share my journey and then also learn from those that I admire, and bringing that to this kind of stage, this collective stage of discussion, I've missed it. I think I've missed it probably more than I'll kind of recognize and acknowledge. But I'm really thankful and happy to get back on this quest and start giving back and get back into it. Full disclosure, I'm not sure how regular this is going to be. I'm not sure how many episodes it's going to be. It might come back and just be a regular thing. My life has gotten more busy and more complicated since the last episode, so it's going to be a little tricky to kind of balance these things, but I do definitely want to give this as much time and energy as I can, because I feel like it's going to just, everybody's going to feel it. And that's one thing that I've always tried to hold dear to this, is not have things get in the way of the raw, direct contact between myself and a guest, or whoever, myself and you, listening. So that's kind of been one of the big goals and kind of the core theme of this thing. I think that's where the value is. So I've missed it. I love the anonymity. I love being able to just kind of observe the world, but I also miss being able to participate in the world socially, like this. And I think, the pandemic came through, and that was a time where I think it would have been really good to do the podcast, because I feel like there was a lot of isolation happening. And then NFTs became prevalent, and that was a whole thing, which was really interesting, and I'm excited to talk about that with everybody. And then there's this, the social aspect and all that kind of stuff. So there's just been a lot of stuff going on in mental health, and with myself and everybody else included in the community, this small community that we live within. And I'm hoping that this podcast is coming back to it. And also I feel like I'm a little bit more mature in my approach to life. Hopefully that's the case. And I hope that I can kind of, bring some of these lessons and things that I've been learning through this process of living in life back to the podcast itself. So lots have happened over the past time, over this duration of not being here. And there's been a lot of great things in my life, a lot of blessings and a lot of things to be completely thankful for and really blessed to be a part of. So one of the big things that obviously, if you followed what I've been doing, I've been involved with some really special projects, which has been great and really just some amazing experiences all across the board. So what's been happening all of this time, these 3 years? I've been focusing mostly on just what I want to be doing, focusing on projects. There's been a lot of really great lessons that I've learned. I've really dived headfirst into becoming a filmmaker and really flexing and understanding that mechanism, that kind of a world, which has been really challenging and rewarding at the same time, but it's completely all encompassing, and it's a very unique space. And I've also been able to be blessed to be a part of some really special projects like the Batman and so on and so forth, which has been quite life-changing and something that's very, very dear to my heart, and being a part of this whole ecosystem, which has been amazing. I've been able to set a lot of personal goals and acquire them, which has been really great, and just been able to focus a lot more on myself and family, which is, I think, ultimately is a great thing. But again, I think I've forgotten and lost track of the fact that you're my family as well. And I don't mean that in the literal form, but I mean that in we're all in this together in a sense. And it humbles me to say these things, and it's something that really kind of resonates with me on a really core human aspect. But we're all on this journey, and we all have different levels and stages to the journey. And the journey I'm talking about is not just for art, but it's just the journey of living and existing. And I'm hoping that this bringing back the podcast and bringing back this thing will give back a bit. And I know that this is the podcast's departures kind of hit some of you a bit harder than others. And thank you for sending me your emails and hopefully my replies and your patience has been worth it, because I'm hoping when we come back to this, it's going to, be better. All right. So I'm looking at my notes here. That's going to be another thing. So what's the new podcast going to be somewhat looking like? Well, obviously now you can see me. I figured I've been freelancing for over a decade. And when COVID happened, everybody started doing these video calls finally. And I've been doing this stuff for a very long time. So it's been really good that now there's an ease of access. So I just have my webcam. We're just going to be talking here. And so that's going to be a cool thing. We're going to be able to see one another. We're going to be posting things to YouTube as well. And, that's going to be evolved. But now it's no longer going to just be audio. So that's going to be fun. We're going to be able to pull up art and talk about it. And when I bring on guests and stuff and topics and stuff, I'll be able to kind of pull them up and extrapolate on things, which is going to be, for those of you that can have it and listen to it and want to be able to see it, that's going to help as well. I think it's just an evolution of the podcast itself, not just being audio only, but I also think it's going to be strong to also be audio as well. So that's going to be a big change. So that's cool. Let's see. I'm going to be doing episodes like this where I'm not going to be bringing on a guest, and I'm going to be talking about a subject, a topic, or something, and just really do an intense focus and kind of talk about that. That might put me in the limelight for certain things, and I might not want that attention, but at the same time, I think that it's important to kind of go over these things and discuss them. And this is going to be a process that we're going to learn from. And so that's going to be one thing that's going to be interesting, is doing the topic-based solo episodes. And we might figure out some sort of interaction with myself and the rest of you when there's maybe some subjects that you would like to hear more about. But for the most part, I'll probably just be driving a lot of those things about like mental health and work-life balance and, all of these kind of common questions and themes that I encounter from everybody in the feedback. And I'll probably just try to talk about them as much as possible, and then bring on people that are experts or professionals in that space on that topic, hopefully, and then kind of evolve that conversation. So the solo episodes and being able to see the guests and having them post to YouTube, that's going to be a big shift and an evolution of the podcast. So I think that's going to hopefully add some more value. Another thing is Andrew Harlick, who's been a producer on the episodes for almost since forever, I think since like episode 20 or 30 or so, is actually moving on to other endeavors, and he's doing amazing, and we're so proud of him. And so he's not going to be helping with the podcast as much as he was before as the producer, but we do have a new producer. His name is Aaron Donda, and he's amazing, and we're very blessed and thankful to have him come on, because we just do this. It takes a lot of effort and work and time, and we both have families and all these kind of things, but we're just doing it. It's not a paid job. The payment comes from our souls being, filled by being able to be a part of this community and hopefully helping one another. So that's a big news. That's a really great thing. And big thanks to Andrew for all the amazing work that he's done with the podcast prior. And then big cheers to Aaron for coming on and being a part of the team. As I mentioned earlier, the plan is to potentially have bi-weekly episodes. So that's going to be kind of the flow. Sometimes I might get really busy or on a shoot or something, traveling, might not be able to get everything done at that time. So maybe I think we're going to try and have at least 2 episodes out a month. If anything, we'll have hopefully just at least once out of a month. But again, I don't want to fall into this weird cycle that I was before, where I was just trying to pump them out and just, checking that thing off the list. I want to do them if I feel connected to the guest. I want to do them if there's no agenda. Like I want to do them if they're pure. And I think that's going to give you a much more better experience, because I'll be much more connected, which hopefully that's going to be the case. And that's going to be kind of the summation of everything. So hopefully this goes well, and don't mind the black and white low light webcam right now. We have a crazy storm going on, and the light's kind of low right now, but I've been wanting to do this for a while now. It's been about a year. I've been thinking about it, and the influence from a bunch of friends and family and people asking about it, yourself included. We're back now, and I just hope it's going to be awesome for the both of us. And if you have any questions or inquiries, you know where the social media stuff is, how to get in touch with us. It's all on the website, thecollectedpodcast.com. We'll make sure we have that all kind of easy to obtain and easy to access. And, how we end this, as always, be powerful, be prolific. Peace out, everybody.